I hope you're well. Welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, it's where I talk about twin flames and twin flame process. And this video is just going to be about the information that I had coming in, excuse me, following the full moon, which was, full moon was on Saturday morning. And I had this information come in this morning when I woke up. So um, I just went offline for the moon. So I kind of like shut down my thinking faculty, which is what I call being taken offline. So I uh, didn't answer any emails, didn't look at any emails or anything like that. And I didn't go near the comments on this channel because really that's the only way I ever communicate with anyone anyway, is now through this work I do. So I took myself offline from that. I drank lots of wine and took some CBD and watched a marathon of a show called To the Lake, which is like about a play kind of a thing. That was fun. And then yesterday did nothing either. So that was Friday that I did that. Then yesterday I did nothing. I actually slept all the way through the full moon. Woke up at 8:23, so just after it had passed. And then last night, which was Saturday night, I went to bed and sweated profusely, and then had this dream about somebody I used to know, this guy that I used to be involved with, and woke up. And as I woke up with him in my head, I realised from like a full level of understanding what that relationship had been about energetically. So what it was a representation of inside of me, because everything that you come across in the physical world is a representation of what's inside of you. And then that cleared, and then as soon as that had cleared, it was like I was flicking through a book filled with pictures of everybody I'd ever known. And you know what it's like being human, is that somebody can come into your life and they affect your life in a certain way, and then you find yourself thinking about them. And sometimes it can go on for years, that somebody will keep coming back into your conscious mind and in your unconscious through your dreams, and you're still thinking about them and you're still trying to work out what that was, even sometimes after you've worked out what that was, or you've come to a conclusion of what they are energetically, like where they're working on the spectrum in terms of masculine and feminine, dark and light. You can still find yourself thinking about them years later. So what happened was, it was like I was flicking through this book really fast, like super fast, and just seeing a picture of everybody I'd ever known, and instantly understanding why they'd been in my life, what, where they were working from an energetic perspective, and how that related to where I was in an energetic perspective. So how they were in some way a reflection of my vibration at that point in my life, whenever that was, and that really. So that kind of shifted multiple connections in this lifetime, where I had witnessed an example of what was in my vibration in terms of fear or love at that time, and how I'd been manifesting back to me what is fear or love from outside of myself, and how that was a huge, how the whole lifetime basically is an understanding of how that happens, really. So it's like a lesson almost in that happening. If you wanted to like take the lesson, that is, because not everybody wants to take the lesson in understanding that everything is a mirror back of their vibration. So, but some of us are here for that understanding. So, and I'm one of them. So I got that lesson come in, and then so that was it really. It was like a huge shift point. So I just want to talk about that a little bit, because they've been giving me information for a few weeks now, since I started this channel up again in January. I don't share all of it at the time I'm getting it, but I'm going to share some of it now, because it's kind of all come together in like a big bundle, and I feel it needs to just be put out a little bit in terms of this understanding of what is vibration, and what's going on with the twin flame connection in relation to that, and how everything in your life is a part of that plan and that movement through your life, in terms of like a vibrationally relational experience, really. So just quickly, I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to pull some cards for post moon and see what that says. Right, so so we've got the source energy there, We always start with that point, right? The freedom, the joy, the happiness, the let go, the unconditionalness, the uncordedness, the higher self, the higher consciousness, intuition, that kind of thing, right? So you've got that source. Source comes into physical framework for a human experience. So it's separating into individuals, called the individual experience of being human. To do that, we're bringing in ego. So source is love, light, clarity, higher consciousness. We bring in the faculty of the mind, the development of the ego, the ID, the id, the individual self, right? And we've got higher consciousness there, and then we've got ego in the form of the ID, the individual self, right? So this is your personal tastes, preferences, and everything that makes up you, personality, your character. In some respects, because there's a little bit looseness around that character in terms of where you come from. But, you know, it's your personal tastes and preferences, your individuality, right? So that's what that is. And then this ID, the id, which is ego, is also part of collective ego. So here we have everybody's egos, basically. So this is all the individuals together in what we call thought consciousness, and them all shouting out for a piece of the action, basically. And in that we have a lot of, it should be this way. No, it should be this way, kind of thing. Energy coming in the human collective, like all this disagreement, opposition, sometimes confusion, sometimes clarity, but millions of voices all shouting at once, wanting to be heard, and a lot of them where it's, again, we've got this operates from a light half and a dark half, so we can have like the empathic half of the collective conscious ego, and we can have the dark half of the collective conscious ego, the masculine or the feminine, so we can have it operating from a sense of higher self, or we can have it operating from a sense of lower self. The lower self is on the furthest extreme, it's the narcissism. The empathic self on the furthest extreme, it's the empathy. So we've got narcissism, empathy, and where it works from inside collective ego, because it's ego, it's going to be geared towards the dark, it's going to be geared towards the masculine, it's going to be geared towards narcissism. The reason for that is because narcissism is a power grabber. So it's always going to try and grab the collective consciousness and manipulate it, normally using fear, the element of fear, control. Fear is controlling, ultimately, to come into power and to take hold of, to enslave the human collective. All right, so we've got all that going on there in thought consciousness. So that's thinking, basically, because the ego comes from thought, right? So any kind of thinking at all is going to cord you in some way to the collective consciousness. It's going to cord you into either masculine or feminine energy in the collective consciousness. At one extreme, narcissism; at the other extreme, let go. Empathy is let go. It's akin to source energy, even when it's in the collective, right? So it's the voice of let go. It's the freedom, it's the non-judgment, it's the live and let live, right? That's in that collective ego that will talk in that frame of reference, right? So that's that. Okay, and then twin flames. So you're coming in for an experience of what is arriving at the final point, destination, which is source energy in terms of yourself. So you come in through source. As you come in, you're taking on a physical body. Physical body is a cellular memory of everything that you've ever come from. So in your physical body, in the cells, in the DNA, you're connected to everybody else you've ever been connected, could be connected to, that's come through your heritage, through your bloodline. So all that is in your DNA, and in that DNA is a collective experience of everyone in your bloodline. And thinking about that, that's a hell of a lot of bloodlines, because everybody's connected to everybody that's connected with everybody else before you were ever born. So that's millions of people's experience in your cells, not just your own family, but everyone else that they've been connected to, you know, distant, all arriving in your cellular body for your experience of being human. Twin flames, the location in the physical body, the conclusion of the process of the twin flame process is arriving in a freedom energy which is cleared. Right, it's a cleared energy. It's the energy of full let go, freedom, non-judgment, clarity, love. That is what love is. It's no judgment. It's let go. It's seeing everything as it should, as it is, as being exactly as it should be, and being free of it in yourself. So as you're moving forward through your process, and we've said before, right, you're going up and down in vibration. So you're hitting the ego, you're going down into the low of the ego, purging out the ego, and then you're bouncing back up again into higher self. So they were just putting it really simply because we said it in other videos, right? And in that, you are purging the ego. So when we talk about purging ego, what we mean is we are purging the fear that's held in the collective consciousness. So this is everything that's talked about in the collective consciousness about the future, about the past, about the present, anything that's fear driven, right, that would put the fear into you, is that you're clearing that as you go down into your ego. And as you bounce out of that, you're bouncing into higher self again. So your process is one of purging. You're also connected to another human being who's also going through this process, who's purging or bouncing up into higher energy. You've got a connected vibration around this work. So it's almost like as you go down, they go up. As they go up, you go down. And the masculine, the one working from the masculine perspective, is also always slightly behind the one working from the feminine, because the feminine is the creator principle. So as the feminine goes forward, the masculine is following behind. So that's each twin, right? So you've got that going on as well. And then we get to the point about the vibration, right? So, and what you're purging, right? So you're purging your own ego in relation to fear. So you're not purging your identity, because your identity is your personal ego. So you're not purging like who you are and what you like and your tastes and preferences. Those make up you, and that is where your boundaries come in. Right, because your boundaries are around who you are and your individuality, and that's what you're here for. You're coming for an experience of being separate from source in an individual experience as who you're incarnating as. But the idea from source, the grand plan, the Pleiadian plan, is to have an individual experience that is filled with happiness and joy. That is in fact an experience of happiness and joy. To create the physical body, to create the physical human experience, there has to be a dark and light in there, right? It cannot be a human experience without a dark and light. So it's got to have the ego, because it's got to have the thinking faculty. The thinking faculty is to project out to what we call the fourth dimension, and imagine all the lovely things that you want in your life, all the desires that you want to be met. And through imagining those, create them in your physical life by them coming back in from there and materializing, manifesting into your physical life. The thinking faculty from source, the idea from source, is that, right? That's why you have the individual experience, your tastes, your preferences, so you can manifest those into your physical life. So your physical life is going to match up with your taste and preferences. So when you're purging out ego, you're purging out the fear of the collective ego. And that's coming through history and all these timelines, through what everyone's ever thought in relation to the earth experience and all the fear. And generally that is around sex, death and taxes. It's around the fear that you're not going to, that you die and it's all over, and that you're only alive for a short time. So it's like a race to, so there's fear in that, right? You're not going to have enough sex. You're not going to meet that pleasure. Fear in that, sex, death and taxes, they call it. And fear of finances, fear of money, fear of being poor. Where that's all coming from on an energetic level is where you've been connected through history to where those fears might have been a very real thing, right? Now people live for a very long time, generally. And generally we're not dirt poor, generally, right? And way back in history, people might have lived for just 3 minutes, basically, or something like that, more of the time than they do now. I mean, yeah, that does happen now, but more of the time back then, and didn't live such long lives, not all of them, not as many of them, and didn't have as much money and all that kind of stuff. So this fear that's held in the collective is coming through timelines as well. So as you come in for your experience and you're here to represent, you're here to become happiness and joy in a physical experience, right? And that's the process that you're going through here with your twin, is you're both arriving in this freedom energy at the end point, which is being uncorded from the collective, uncorded from collective ego, collective thought, and all the machinations and the manipulations and the controlling and the cording that goes on in there by the narcissistic energies that have control of collective thought, because they are the power grabbers, so they will have control of it until we've deleted that. So you're here to delete that by purging it out of your own individual experience. Your twin actually comes in relation to you for you to go through that experience of purging out collective fear. So your twin connection, as you can see, has got nothing to do with romance at all. It's got everything to do with purging out what's in the collective, and it's got everything to do with, therefore, purging out what is historic. So as you move through this process of clearing from dark to light in what appears to be about another person, right, it's actually it's purging out collective ego, fear, and it's purging out history. So you clear backwards as you move forward. So as you're moving forward through your physical experience connected to this one other person that's bringing in all this stuff to you for you to purge out that in relation to them, you're clearing through timelines of history and the people that you've been related to, that experience, and you're clearing it on a cellular level in the physical body. And when you arrive in the physical body, right, this is what the chakra system is. So you've got the physical body, and then you've got the ego around it. So you've got the mind, the ID, the ego, the thought, the ability to think, the thinking faculty. It's an energy, it's thinking, because you can't see it, taste it, or touch it, right? It's an energy. Around that, you've got the feeling. So you've got what we call emotions, the feeling inside of the human body. The feeling is always affected by the thoughts, because the thoughts can cause it to fear, or the thoughts can be let go of, and it can be in freedom. So it can actually completely bypass the collective consciousness and tap into source, which is freedom, by purely letting go of the thoughts, which is meditation. So, but anyway, those around you, and then around that you've got your vibration, which is source. So you're made up of more than just the physical body. Where you're purging on a cellular level, you're purging the mind, you're purging the energy of the mind. So you're purging back through time in relation to all this fear in the mind, how it stores in the physical body as well, because thinking makes people old. Thinking and worrying and stressing, it wears out the physical body, makes people old. It doesn't give, the life is not enjoyable. So you're purging out that as well. And you're also purging out the ability to feel, right? So you're going from a lower experience of feeling, which is basically by being, all this is being corded. When we talk about a lower experience, everything there is about being corded, either cording it into the collective and thinking and worrying and stressing and being in fear, or corded into lower feeling ability, which is, again, it's like feelings of sadness and loss, feelings of worry and fear. It can come, it's in the feelings, it's like an uneasy feeling. All that is represented in your vibration. So your vibration is made up of your feelings and thoughts. As you clear, as you go along, and you're clearing through history, and you're changing the cellular level of your body, and you're changing the cellular level of your mind, and then you're coming into more cleared energy. And when we talk about the cleared energy, it's the clearing in the vibration that counts, because what goes into your vibration, and this is how they show me it, it's like you're standing in the middle of like the Japanese restaurants, and you're standing there and you're surrounded by a conveyor belt, and everything's flowing past you that is your desire, or you're not wanting, your desire, or the flip side of that, your fear. And you've got that circulating in your vibration. So at any minute, depending on where your vibration's at, you're going to bring towards you what is fear or desire. So I should say the fears and desires are circulating around the vibration, because these things, these fears or desires are not part of you. They're part of you in terms of what you're desiring or fearing, but they're going to be out there in terms of other people, situations and events, in terms of what that is. So they're circulating around that, and you're going to draw to you whatever you're matching in terms of that. So as you clear through, coming into more cleared energy, it means more uncording from the collective constantly. And it's what happens. It's not just it's not about focusing on it and making it happen. It will happen, but it's just that if you allow yourself to understand that it's happening and that you're clearing, then know that you are clearing, and let go of fear. right? Because when you've got something coming to you, whether it's a physical experience that's painful, whether it's a mental experience that's painful, or a feeling experience that's painful, you're having it so you can clear it, right? So knowing that is a great benefit in clearing it. So instead of thinking a thought, let go of the thought. Instead of going towards the feeling, if it's a negative one, let go of the feeling. Physical pain, know that it's facilitating a clearing cellularly, so that you're not clearing in relation to you what's here right now, you're clearing backwards through time. So the other people that come after you, who also come from these timelines, will come from a cleared timeline, and they won't have that in their cellular body. So they won't have the fear of the collective in there, and they'll be able to operate from more empathy and more source energy, more consciousness, more ego in relation to source energy from the minute they get here. So it's the experiences of humanity that come after us is why we're doing the work, not the ones that are here right now, because those ones are here right now and they've got their own business around their own vibration and where they're at with that going on right now. And that's their work in progress. So their work in progress is not our work in progress. Our work in progress is only ever our own vibration, right? And in this thing that you've got circulating around you, that's the like the avenue of desires, you know, and it's around you and everything's in there that you've ever wanted. You've got this meeting here that you meet with a twin. So we're talking about it in the ones that have met, all right? We might talk about the other ones in a minute, I don't know. All right, so you've met this person and something clicks, right? Let's call it chemistry, because really chemistry is the closest thing to vibration that you can talk about that isn't, because it's not the mind and it's not the feelings, it's the chemistry, it's the energy, right, that's between you. So something there, you can almost feel it, taste it, touch it, right? And it's like love, right? And it feels like love, and it feels almost complete, like a complete love. But you don't know why, because you can't judge it from the mind, because it's not a mind thing. And you can't judge it from your feelings, because your feelings are going in and out in relation to your mind all the time. Your feelings are before vibration, right? But this thing is in your vibration. This connection is in your vibration. So it's outside of your feelings. It's outside of your thoughts. It's in the energy. That's why we call it a twin flame, because it's related to the energy, your vibration, and not your feelings or your thoughts. So you'll never work it out from there. Never. We'll put a big cross there, because that's where you won't work it out. Where you will work it out is as you move through the journey and you're clearing towards more high consciousness, less cording to thought, less cording to feeling, more detachment, more clarity, which is universal love, which is collective, which is source energy. And that's where channeling comes from, right? So when you channel through what is source energy in terms of knowingness, clarity, it's coming through no thought, it's coming through no feeling, it's coming through detachment. And in that, there is complete understanding of what that person is to you. Now, you can get that in a momentary value, right? Or you can get it full time, and you can have it full time, that knowingness. And as you move to the end of this process, more and more of you are having that more full time, that knowingness, that is something is in my vibration, that is coming towards me, that is my vibration, which is the other twin, because it's a vibrational thing, right? And it's in the vibration. So we're all of us, every single human being, walking around this planet like as that, right? Human, thought, feeling, vibration. And we're all like this little bouncy dots, right? And every now and again, we're going to bounce up against another person's vibration. And the idea is we lightly touch off, right? So it might be just, the interaction should be a light nothingness, right? This is going to get really weird in a minute. Because if you push through someone's vibration and you're trying to get into their thoughts and affect their way they think, or you're trying to push through someone's vibration and affect the way they feel, right? That is not freedom. Freedom is letting everybody be their individual self and their vibration to thrive and their vibration to be their boundary, right? It's a vibrational boundary. So you're going to bump up into lots of people throughout your lifetime like this, right? All of whom have to be let go of so that they can thrive, right? So we can all be in a let go energy of thriving. So just to say that as well, that's how it is, right? But this vibrational thing that's twins, it's the same vibration. So when you bump up and against the vibration of this person, it's the vibration. It's more like it's one vibration, right? So it's all the same. So as you flow in and you flow out, it's like you're like one. You're a oneness, right? Because source is vibration. It is a oneness. Ha! So you see, that's why it feels so like it feels when it's the twin. So the reason we're saying this is because a lot of people go through this journey, right? And they don't know, is that the twin? Is that the twin? I don't know, is it the twin? Well, first of all, you're in your mind. So you've got to let go of your mind in relation to what you think it might be or not be, right? And you can't feel it out because it's not feeling, it's vibration. So you've got to let go of that as well. But what you could do it like this, right? So it's like what came in for me this morning, for example, is everybody's got a vibration. And some vibrations, it doesn't matter if you try and go through into them, right? Into their thoughts. You have these relationships and the vibration doesn't match. They have not got the desires in their vibration that you've got in your vibration, so it's not going to match. Some will have fears in their vibration that are fears in your vibration. For an instant, maybe you'll match and that won't be a very pleasant experience. But as you bounce off that and you clear that fear, you're not going to have that again. And well, you'll have it in a different way maybe until you've cleared all the fear that you've got to clear. But what you're really looking for is this desire. It's like a chemical, it's a chemical number. You could call it a TF, TF1, right? It's the chemical composition of the twin flame, right? TF1, because there's only one. And it doesn't matter how many vibrations you go into, and you go into the mind and you're asking about this, asking this person, are you the one for me? And let's talk it out and let's think about it and let's see if we agree on this and let's come to a conclusion from the mind. And, what do your parents want you to do? What does your society tell you should do? What is marriage to you? What's duty and obligation to you? That's all from the mind. It's all coming from history. It's all coming from the collective ideas of what relationship is. So you're not going to find it there. In the feelings, when you're hitting up against feelings that are not in a form of empathy, feelings are not in the form of feeling good about the self, because really your feelings are only for you to feel good about yourself. So when you're hitting up against someone, right, and you're looking at, how do you feel about me? Are you going to love me? When are you going to love me? How are you going to love me? I need to be loved like this. None of that is twin flame energy, because that is looking for feeling good in someone else and not in yourself, right? So whenever you hit up against that, that's not going to work. You're going to be guided out of it. Also, it doesn't matter if it's your twin or not, but what's in the twin here is the same twin flame TF1 chemical reaction. So you've got this in the vibration because it's the same duty, obligation here in going through this story and moving into what is freedom point at the end of it. So that's what you've got that's the same. It's the TF1, right? Which is being here for this source mission of coming into the vibration of source. You've both got that. So the triggering that you go through all along the way is actually the completion of this project called getting into the final location of freedom point. And it's a triggering that has to happen by this vibration sometimes coming together and sometimes bouncing apart until the work of completion is done. What else did we want to say about this? So, yes, so in terms of like, is this the one? Is this the twin? Is it the twin? Well, how does it feel? And how does it feel in terms of, do they feel this way that you want them to feel about you? Because that's not your feeling good and that's not what it's here for. And it's not, or is it the one because do they think that like me, and do they think the things that I think about them? And there may be some of that and there may not at certain times. It depends if you're dipping down or you're dipping up, or which one of you is dipping down or dipping up, because it's a process, right? So it's not about that, but what it's about is when you feel that you're going through this journey that's called your lifetime, and you're on board the train, right? The TF1, and you're moving through your process. So bam, you meet that person, right? And it all triggers off. Or maybe you don't, because there's a version of this where you don't. So it could be just that it's in. It's like feeling like the one. There's the one out there. I know there's the one. I haven't met them yet. And you go through, some people go through the lifetime, and it's like they'll meet people that aren't the one. And it keeps getting reflected back to them that they aren't the one after this one comes in. And you have to go through all this letting go. And what you're really letting go of in your mind and your heart is you're letting go of the one that appeared to be the one, because it doesn't work from the mind or the heart like that. It only works from freedom. So you've got to let go of that one. So all these multiple experiences of that not being the one leave you with a feeling inside of yourself. It's a feeling that's a vibrational understanding that no matter how much you let go of this one that you met, where there was that chemistry and that desire, that it won't leave you, right? So you can let go, and you're meant to let go. You have to let go. You have to let go of feelings and thoughts, but it will not leave you. The twin flame, you're still on the train all the way through to the end of the journey. So it's not going to leave you. There needs to be an understanding, right? You let go, that's what you're meant to do, because it's arising into higher energy, is the let go. But will this chemistry, this vibration of this other person leave you? No, not if it's the one. It won't leave you. So that's why you can get to from 17 years old to 58 years old and still there'll be a person that represents the oneness, the chemistry, the vibration of source in your vibration. A vibration that is knowingness, that is clarity, that is the understand. It's like a full body understanding. It's like a cellular understanding in your, because remember it goes vibration, feeling, mind, body. So it's going to reverberate through everything. It's going to push away thoughts. It's going to push away judgments on feelings, and it's just going to arrive in your cellular body where it's finished, where it's doing its clearing around. Yes, this is the one. Not because you're telling yourself, not because you're going by what has happened in relation to your feelings around them, and did they love you enough or not? Because it's not about that. It's the I am. It's an I am. It's arriving at the I am, the knowingness of what is source, what it feels like as source in your physical body, right? And from there you get to a point where you are cleared of all fear. Because knowingness is the opposition to fear. We have fear in the collective consciousness where we have talking and discussion and thinking. There's no fear in source. Source is freedom. There's no fear there. So you're arriving at your desires at the end point of the journey, because all desires are met through vibration, and a vibration cleared of all fear. Because when there's no fear, you can't match fear anymore. If you've got fear in your vibration, you can match it from outside of yourself. If you haven't, and you've only got desires left, then all you're going to get coming to you is desire. And that's when it's coming back to you. Right, so that's how it's vibrational. And when you're clearing, how you're clearing, right? So how everything has been in relation to you at any point along the line is in terms of your vibration. So that's the thing that they wanted to say there. The other thing is, we clear all sorts of programs, because look at what you're connected to through lifetime. You're connected to a lot of different things. In terms of the ego and it being collective, where we've got the dark machinations of the narcissistic template, which is what we're actually clearing as well. So we're coming into a better location in a human framework of that energy, and clearing that is our work here. In clearing that comes on many different levels. It can be connected to you, so it can come through your physical experience, not as people around you, but as you, and little tendrils of that energy in you that have to be cleared. And that's anything from being in a bad mood to being slightly aggressive with someone or grumpy. You know, these are human frailties. The endeavour of being human is not a perfect thing. We are not a perfect thing yet. We're here to create paradise on earth and heaven on earth, which will come after us Well, who knows? We'll probably incarnate again for that, so don't worry and fear about that. But not in this, in your lifetime, yes, in your twin flame reunion, as a reflection of the process of coming into paradise on earth. But we're all here in this experiment being human, so we've all got dark and light inside of us. And this is like little pops of energy going off all the time. So we can't deny our ego. We can't deny that. We're in a work in progress of eliminating the dark through the experience we're having. Each and every one of us is having that experience. Nobody here is above that. So the reason they're talking about this is because we have this false light program that runs through collective consciousness. False light, and it starts with religions that would take you away from yourself and tell you that you're a bad person, that you're a sinner, that you should just ignore that part of yourself and hate yourself for it. Actually hate yourself. But that's not the truth. We're all here to dismantle this dark, and to do that we have to recognize it inside of ourselves, right? Because if we don't recognize it, we won't delete the program. We'll just ignore the program, and then we'll all be walking around like zombies, wearing a mask, like we're false light, like these people that you see that are really like, spirituality is not about wearing a white dress or lots of jewelry or walking around with your nose in the air, swanning around like you're an untouchable. Being human is your spiritual journey. Sometimes you roll around on the floor in agonizing physical, mental and emotional pain, pulling your hair out, bashing your head against the wall, hating everything. That's being human sometimes, and that is part of your spirituality, right? So it's not cutting yourself off from who you really are because fake light tells you should be only light. Right? It's being who you are in every endeavour of being human and recognising in that, and then arriving at a better place in relation to yourself in terms of, this doesn't feel good to me to be like this. So I'd prefer to feel better most of the time. And then from that point, Source helping you to feel better from there and moving through to more and more points of feeling even better and even better, because you're recognising what it is to not feel good and that how it feels inside of you, and you're eliminating it through a process of recognising it, that it is not what you want in your life, and in doing that you're growing your vibration of authenticity, right? So don't get tricked by the false light that tells you you should be walking on water, like you are Source in that way, because Source that's not what Source created here. Source created the egoic human, right? So, and we're in a work in progress in working towards what is a less egoic human. You see? So everything about you that's your personal life is your spiritual journey. Like I say, Grand Theft Auto, wine, dancing around to house music. What else do I like that's really not spiritual? I'm sure there's many other things I can't think of right now. So it's everything that makes up the you that you are right now, right? And you're never wrong to be the you are right now. It's a process you're going through. You're not at the end point until you're in the cleared point of feeling free. And then what you're really feeling free of is to be anything anybody else says you should be or expects you to be. That's what you're free of. So you're free of the collective ego. Listen to this, right? Religion is narcissism for narcissists. Because the only people that need to be controlled and controlled in terms of their negative impulses, like wanting to murder people, wanting to hurt people, are narcissists. So that's why we have religion, to control people that work from narcissism inside themselves. So they've got a moral structure to work from. But empaths don't need that, because empaths already understand how it feels to be human in an individual experience, and they recognise the individual experience in everyone around them. So they're in a state of let go around those people and letting live and let live, right, around that person. So that's that. Right, now I'm going to do a few cards for following this moon. So let's let go of that. Freedom. So we just come into more freedom. We're always coming into more freedom, more let go, more understanding of what's going on here in terms of what it means to be human, what it means to have vibration, be vibration, and the whole experience, the whole 4 feet on the ground, the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the vibration are the 4 feet on the ground, and you've got all of them. So it's paying attention to all of them and understanding that it's the clearing that's important, not cording. You have clearing and you have cording. Cording is where you cord yourself to your thoughts and the fear that's there. And the fear can come in worry and stress and shame and guilt. The guilt of being human, right? And that's all, again, comes through churches telling you that you're wrong, that you're bad, that you're a sinner, that you should be different. So you've got to let go of all of that. And anything that comes from the entrails of that isn't you being in a religion right now, but is the religion that's come through your family or your distant ancestors, that's still part of your cellular membrane, that's still prompting that expression in you, that's not an expression of source, because the expressions of source are freedom. Right? So, what's coming up now? Happiness, more happiness coming in. 9 of Cups, completion of happiness that's inside the self. Healing of humanity. So like I say, we heal backwards, right, through time. So just know that you're healing. You're healing your ancestors just by breathing. It's not anything conscious that you have to do, unless it feels good to you. If it feels good, I mean, I just did a reading for someone. I said they should go out into the forest and wave a wand around because that felt good for them. But if it feels good for you in some other way, then do what feels good for you. Feeling good is what we're here for, because then we're going to manifest from feeling good. So it's always that. So it's whatever makes you feel good. And it's not about making other people feel good either. They've got their own vibration. Like we say, we're supposed to be bouncing off each other vibrationally. Everyone, we're not supposed to be going into each other's thoughts and feelings and trying to affect that and make them... Everyone have the respect to bounce off everybody else's vibration, and we'll be in a really happy world. Boundaries, 7 of Wands. So... that is your boundary. Your whatever you want, whatever you feel like, whatever you like doing, that's your boundary, basically. And if you develop those things and you develop your you-ness and who you are in your individual state, then you'll develop your boundaries. Because the more you're not what somebody else is, the more you're you, and the more they won't want you, because you'll be your authentic self. So if you're pretending to be something you're not, then stop pretending to be something you're not, because you're only going to find something else that's pretending to be what it's not. If you want authenticity, you have to own yourself and who you are and everything you don't like and dislike and do like and love, and find more of what you do love to love and let go of the ones that you don't like and dislike, so that you've got more space to love what you love. So you build more happiness in your vibration, you become more your authentic self, and you're healing yourself in the now moment. We're healing back through history for those that come after us. We're healing ourselves in the now moment of who we are right now, in our bounciness of happiness and joy that's our vibration around us. Wisdom. Physical framework, feminine. Completion, 10 of Pentacles. So when is your completion? When you're being you. When you're being completely you, and you're not expecting other people to be you, and you're not trying to be them, basically. When you're your own individual self, and you're asserted. See, people take assertion and they think it's a really dirty word, right? Asserting yourself into your physical experience. I love doing this, and I love doing that, and I love doing this, and I love doing that, and I'm going to do more of that. That is asserting yourself into your physical experience. And when you grow that inside of yourself, first of all, in a very physical manifest way, through your mind, through your feelings, you grow, your vibration becomes more healthy. When you desire what you want to desire, when you love it and you want more of it, you get that in your vibration, you're bringing it towards you, and the things that you don't want will fall away. They'll fall away because there's no way for them to come towards you. And then you'll be more in the completion, right? The wisdom of the completion in the physical body is more of that which you love and ignoring, really, that which you don't. or putting a great big boundary up around it and knowing you don't love it. So it doesn't want to come near you because it doesn't recognise in you what it is that you don't want. Transformation, boundaries, divine love. You've only got one thing coming towards you at the end of this journey, one person. And that's that one which is the vibration is the same vibration, the one that feels like divine ecstasy, right? And it feels like it in every single cell and membrane of your body, not through thought and trying to decide if it is and trying to work out if it is, and not through feelings as though it's like you desperately need it because you can't feel it inside yourself, because you've learned to feel it inside yourself first, that divine ecstasy, and become that divine ecstasy of freedom. And then it will just come to you like it was always there all along, which it is always there all along. It's literally one breath away from the vibration that you become. One breath away. And Queen of Swords, which is the mind and the truth aspect of the feminine. What's underneath? Freedom in the world and completion. So, you know, really feminine energy taking a standpoint here in the Queen of Swords and speaking up is what feminine energy has just done, because because feminine energy isn't some like false light. It's not pretending that we're all sweetness and light all the time and that we're all soft and gentle all the time, you know, and that we're not in Lemuria yet. We're working our way there, but we're certainly not there yet. There needs to be some great big strides in some quite heavy boots by the feminine before we get to that. And that's in terms of I own myself, I own my vibration, and an energy of like everything else just step aside, because I got one definite point at the end of this journey and it is not you. Right? Anyway, higher self, grounded self. Higher self, grounded into a physical reality whilst working from the understanding of higher consciousness. I am that I am, that I am, that I am, that the power that I am resides in my physical experience right now, who I am, and no one can take me away from that physical experience or stomp on that physical experience or expect me to set aside my physical experience and become their physical experience because they prefer their physical experience over mine. Boundaries. Right now. That's what it is right now. Boundaries. And not letting the past come back at you either in any way to cord you. So let go of all the thoughts about the past and the feelings about the past. Just know that it was part of your experience because it was reflecting your vibration back at you. Competence and completion in the physical world. Transformation. Again, she's got higher self on her arm in the bird. So it's higher self in a physical format. Authority over the individual experience. Nine of Cups, movement forward into more happiness and more joy, more freedom, more uncordedness. More I will be me and I will be free. Head over heart on the feminine principle. So really taking on the aspect of the masculine, right? It's like wielding the sword of truth, basically. Excuse me. Wisdom. Love comes back. There's only one love on this journey. It's the love that feels that it's like love, but not because you're feeling it for the thing that it is, just because it promotes you towards being in a feeling of love for yourself, a complete feeling of freedom. And then we've got confusion coming out on completion. So clearing through confusion as well. And rest the mind. Just let go. What we're really clearing is the energy of confusion about what love is. You know, that's what we're really here doing. Creating physical world vibration. Creating the vibration of the feminine is what we're doing. But it's a work in progress. Sometimes the feminine needs to wear bloody big boots. Healing, masculine and head over heart. Healing that inner nature, right? So, oh, we haven't gone here. Look, star, ending. So that's clearing through decades, ages, clearing through history, healing through history, and energy moving towards divine union. And that's how it works. So we're just clearing every step of the way until we're in fully cleared energy, prime vibrational territory. And the Ace of Wands is coming out on that. It's just clearing a confusion from the vibration, right? In what there is there, in what you want to come towards you. And really that's a representation of how we're clearing the collective consciousness. Because you clearing your mind and freeing yourself of any limitations, any false beliefs or expectations that are coming from the collective fear that tell you can't have this, that it won't happen, that you're misguided, or that you're crazy, or that you're mad. All of that is fear. That's all in the collective. You can see it out there if you want to look at it. In terms of what you're going through, you've got to let go of all of that, because that will just cloud the vibration, or you'll have confusion in your vibration. You don't want confusion in your vibration. You want it to be clear in what you want. So even if it's not somebody that you've already met, you want what love is. You want a representation of what authentic love is in human form. Even if you just have that clarity in your vibration and then let go. Yes, you can meet your desires in other ways. If you want them to have dark hair, picture them with dark hair. If you want them to, what kind of body do you want them to have? When I met my twin, he looked like the kind of boy that I wanted when I was about 12 years old. He just looked exactly like what I wanted back then when I was 12 years old. And that's just, every single thing about him was just like spot on and made every single bit of me tingle. Right, and that tingle, when you get tingles, that's your vibration. So that's how you vibrationally know as well. It's the tingles that you get. And also the thing that looks like everything that you've ever wanted. Absolutely, just like out of a picture book, like I could have drawn him and he came and that was it. So anyway, I digress. Clear it up in the vibration, people, and manifest it. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.